you know, my wife actually wanted to retire to the Keys. And I lived down there, and she was, I think, jealous that she didn't get to. Hey, Karen.
What's up, Karen?
So it says 2 hours because I did it wrong, as per usual. But it's now. So as we've kind of gotten this crazy Disney thing going and moved along, now we're kind of looking more Central Florida. Maybe not in Orlando, but maybe St. Augustine or even like DeLand. My son looked. Hey, Caleb, what's up, buddy? But my son looked at Stetson University, and that's a cool little town. Like they have a old school main street that is just beautiful, and 50 minutes to get in. It's really neat. I liked that campus a lot, but he really liked Jacksonville. And
the Jacksonville State or just University of Jacksonville?
Jacksonville University.
Okay.
Yeah, Karen, that definitely counts as catching a spelling error. So I'm a terrible speller, I'm a terrible typist, and I'm a horrible proofreader. So doing social media, and I'm often doing it from my phone at like 5:30 in the morning, before my coffee. So Karen, you have definitely won. I need to send you a shirt, but I've been asking people to correct me. I'm like, go ahead. I don't have any ego. So, but I'd rather be stupid once than stupid 100 times. So it's nice.
Well, if you need help, let me know. I did a lot of writing when I was in the Air Force. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, folks would always send me things to do a once over.
And my wife's great at it, but she's not around all the time, unfortunately.
She's a teacher, right?
That's right.
Makes sense.
She taught French for 12 or 13 years, and now is the gifted resource teacher. I changed the background behind us to the wonderful world of color and Disney intros. I thought that'd be fun.
I wonder why.
Yeah, imagine.
That's funny.
I kind of love that stuff.
And that's one of the greatest things about doing these live actions is seeing the intros, because those intros are my childhood, right? Like that's waiting for those sounds to come on.
Yeah, that's kind of how I kind of was getting started. I discovered Walt intro. I mean, I'd seen many when I was a kid, when they would re-air anthology episodes on the Disney Channel. But I just became obsessed with them and collecting as many as I could.
Minis, really?
Putting them on YouTube. And then I'm like, well, why not just do the entire anthology and try to catalog it as best I can? A lot of episodes, you can't throw them all on there.
Right.
Because of copyright issues, but at least I can put the...
Caleb says he knows you pretty well.
Oh, Caleb, yeah. Caleb and I, we chat quite a bit on other, like there's a Twitch stream we're on every Thursday, and we chat on Facebook from time to time. Good guy.
Yeah, very good dude. And I have not mailed your stuff, Caleb. I'm sorry. I bought him. I picked up some stuff at the parks for him, and I cleaned out my garage today and saw it again. I'm like, oh, I'm so slack. So don't be afraid to beat me up. All right. Well, before we, I guess, waste any more of this awesome conversation, I guess we will start the podcast. Hey, guys, what's up? It is the Mostly Disney podcast. I'm Tater, and we're, live on a Tuesday, which is awesome. Although I think next Tuesday, Andrew, I'm going to be somewhere else. So we may have to bounce around a little bit there.
TBA.
How's South Carolina?
Hot. I feel like I'm in Florida, but no mouse. It's good. I'll cool off this weekend, but
we actually had a pretty solid breeze today. So, all right,
we had the hot breath breeze, as I call it,
and that's not fun.
No.
I am really excited. So, my favorite YouTube channel on the internet is Keeping Walt in Disney, and we have Brian Crawford here tonight with us, and I'm so excited.
Hey, thanks for having me, Tater. I've been following you along on Facebook as you're making your way through a lot of Walt Disney's live action films. And I've been trying to comment and share my thoughts and give you a thumbs up and a high five for exploring some of those lesser known Walt Disney gems out there. And I was really excited to get your message inviting me to come on today. So thanks.
Oh, I'm fangirling out a little bit here because, and I'll tell you something funny. So I would say that that's how we started talking, was over these live action films, which I'm really enjoying doing. It's awesome. But my first interact, and this may just pass, you may not have noticed, but I shared something I can't remember what it was, but I shared it to the WDW group, and you sent me in the comments said, thanks for sharing my, my channel and my material. But in my head, because I don't always understand all of the social media rules, I was like, in my head, it was, thanks for sharing my post. I thought I'd done something wrong. And so I immediately messaged you and said, hey, I'm so sorry. I don't know the rules. I didn't. And you're like, no, I was thrilled. I was glad to see it.
Oh, I
it shared
remember
it out
that.
there.
Okay. That's right.
But I was so afraid that I made you mad.
Anybody that gets out there and reposts some of my videos or posts from Instagram, it's awesome, because that's what it's really all about, creating this community where we share each other's content. Nothing I post, I own. And so anybody can download any of the programs I post on YouTube. I don't care. I don't make any money off of this at all, because it's not my content that I created. So I'm just putting things out there for Disney fans that really wanted to see this on Disney Plus and aren't able to. And so,
Yes.
Because Disney, for one reason or another, there's many reasons why they don't put everything out on Disney Plus. I don't know what all of them are. I know what some of them are, but just to have access to some of the TV episodes, even if they're not the best quality, it's just wonderful to see Walt and some of these gems that are just seem to be lost.
Yeah.
And so putting them out there for people is fun to do.
It's just like you crawled in my head and just say all the things that I'm thinking, because that's exactly like if you just posted the intros to these with Walt, introducing, Sunday nights to us all. I mean, you're right. There's a lot of legal reasons. I understand there's a whole bunch going on in the background, but why Disney Plus, doesn't have all of that. And I don't know if they still do or not. I know when Disney Plus first came out, you could sort it chronologically, like by the 60s and the 70s.
Yep.
And now I feel like that got buried somewhere, if it's still there at all.
Right. Pretty much have
You're
to search
about,
for what you want to watch.
Yeah, Disney Through the Decades tile that used to be on.
Yes.
And that's kind of how, when Disney Plus first came out, and it was there, that's how I kind of navigated through the history of Disney films and shorts. And it seems like Disney's just making it harder and harder to find these episodes and films that you want to watch, because unless you know the title and go to the search bar and type it in, you might not find it unless you start watching several of them and then they show up in your recommendations.
Right. I'm really not trying to pick a thread here, but Song of the South is a perfect example of that. Right. And I'm not, if you don't like it, that's great. I'm not trying to give my opinion on it. I'm happy to, but I'm pretty anodyne when I anyway, it's been lost, right? To a lot of people, and I'm not even sure that it's the greatest Disney film ever. It might not even be my top 10, but by taking it away from me makes me kind of want to see it more. And it does have some groundbreaking acting and music and animation in there that a lot of folks aren't going to get to see, right?
Yeah, let me just tell you a couple of things that here. With Song of the South, I don't see any reason why Disney can't put it on Disney Plus and slap their disclaimer prior to it, which they are getting rid of. I've noticed some films don't have the disclaimer anymore.
Oh,
but they have in the past, with Dumbo, Peter Pan, quite a few films, Aladdin. Especially the ones. Yeah. I know. So if you're going to put a disclaimer in front of these other films, why not do Song of the South? And I think they're really just afraid of the backlash or perception that Disney is accepting of some of the racial undertones that are in Song of the South.
Well, and
But-
and look, you can send your hate mail to Andrew Milan. I'll give you his
Please.
email address.
or me.
But
I'm all for it being on Disney Plus.
but that's one of the things. Like if you watch the film, the apex of the film is the child and and their Uncle Remus, their
Remus.
hands reaching out in
Yeah.
unison. I mean, it really is a touching
Yeah.
story. It's a shame that it got the message got muddled, right? And it happens, right? I mean, Zippity Doo Dah is still a pretty prolific Disney song, right? I mean, it's in a lot of places, and people
It's
at
a
some
long
point
movie.
in time are going to want to know where it comes from.
Yeah.
I do
Well,
think-
you can watch the whole film on the internet, on Internet Archive.
Oh yeah,
It's
Yeah.
There's a really nice 4K restoration someone did and put it out there.
Nice.
So it's not totally lost. But
It's
it would
just-
be nice for Disney to put it on Disney Plus and maybe put a few extras. And maybe even have Leonard Maltin or somebody come on before it and explain what makes this film problematic in today's society. And then go along like what you said about the history of the film and its groundbreaking combination of animation and live action, which is brilliantly done.
you're right.
I mean, I can't think of anything more magical than Uncle Remus singing with a bluebird on his shoulder. And
Literally,
everything just looks so perfect.
Yep.
Like there's a scene where he's with a little bullfrog who's fishing in a pond, and he goes and casts his line, which is animated, and it drops into the pond, and he's real. It's just wow. You see this stuff, and it's like this is 18 years before Mary Poppins. I think Song of the South was 46, and it's just amazing what they were doing. Like that's really how Walt got started with his Alice comedies, was
Right.
putting a
Right.
human person into an animated world. So, and that was in the 20s when he was living in Kansas City. And then I think he finished up the program when he moved to Los Angeles in 23. But just he knew what he was doing from the 20s into the 40s, and Mary Poppins is really just the putting that all together. Everything that made Walt great, animation, live action, great cast.
right.
And I think Mary Poppins is like the perfect Disney movie, in my opinion.
Yeah,
There's
it's
so much
funny.
going on.
Practically perfect in every way.
Practically perfect. That's right.
Right.
Well, and then I was laughing because last night I did the No Mobile, which I am going to rewatch when I'm awake. But it's not a movie I don't know. I do know the film, but it is funny in the credits. It literally says the Mary Poppins kids.
It does, huh?
Yeah,
And it's got Walter Brennan. I mean, it's on paper, it is a perfect film, and yet I've never finished it. And not like I turned it off. I would fall asleep or something. I mean, I am watching these movies at night.
Yeah. I mean,
And
it's okay to get sleepy watching a Disney film.
that's right.
When I went through and watched all of them, I would start one like at 10:30 p.m. and then I try to get to like the halfway mark and finish the film the next day. But there are some are snooze fest. I won't lie.
Yeah. And that's the thing is I'm not a Disney apologist, but I do try to stay positive. And that was one of the reasons that I wanted to start sharing what I love and about Disney and what I do, is because I've got so much negative in my life. And look, we're starting off with some controversy and saying some things we don't like, which before I forget, I think it's funny that they have a warning on 101 Dalmatians about smoking, but not about the psychotic lady who's going to skin puppies and wear them as a coat. Like somehow that's okay, but please don't use a pipe. But I'm not afraid to say, Andrew and I have certainly talked about things we don't like and experiences we've had, but we still even try to do those in a positive way. Because I think Walt was pretty positive, right? Or at least what he left us was. And there's so many Disney. I went through a lot of podcasts, and Brian gave me a few before we started that I'm going to check out, because I kind of ended up just listening to Lou, because I would listen to one and hate it. And it would just be negative, and we don't like this, and we don't like Eisner. We don't like, we didn't like this, and went on and on and on. I'm like, yeah, I know what you don't like. What do we love though? Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's kind of what I focus on. And I guess we can talk a little bit about me and my Disney fandom.
Yes,
Because this will answer, your question here and
I
what
need
my
your origin
channels
story.
are all about. Well, I mean, I grew up in California. My dad was an artist. He was an intern at Cal Arts, and he did a lot of Winnie the Pooh drawings and things. Uh, and he loved all the Disney Channel shows. Like, but he was poor. You know, he was a high school teacher. We didn't have the money that was necessary to buy the Disney Channel. So whenever they did the free previews, he'd record all of it, and we
Mm-hmm.
didn't have cable. So we always just watched and rewatched all those recordings he made of the free Disney Channel previews. But that got me excited about, I mean, my favorite short growing up was The Art of Skiing. Um, Donald, any of the Donald Duck, like Donald Snow Fight and all those
Oh,
crazy
that is
shorts.
Those are awesome.
I
by
know.
far my favorite cartoon of all time.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Just Donald going up the hill with his sled and his big overcoat, and then he swings on the branch singing Jingle Bells.
It's
But it wasn't until '83 that my dad decided to take us all to Disneyland, and he was waiting for the Fantasyland remodel to be done at Disneyland. So '83 was our first trip, and we would go um, probably once or twice a year, all the way until the mid '90s when I moved out and went out on my own. I moved up to Sacramento. I was from the Central Valley, so it was a 3-hour drive down to Disneyland. And I remember one time we were coming back from the beach, and we came to some highway, and my dad was like, "Hey, if we turn left, we're going home, but right, we go to Disneyland." And it's like, "What do you guys want?" And my mom chimed in. She's like, "Hey, come on, you know, we don't have a lot of money. If we turn left and go home, we can have steak. But if you turn right and go down to Disneyland, we'll be eating beans the rest of the month. What do you guys want to do?" We're like, "We want beans.
we want beans.
So, yeah,
That's
that kind of just.
I'm sorry. That would be
The
a pretty
Disney
good.
bug just really wasn't a thing for me when I was in college. I graduated. I'm LDS. I did a mission in Korea. Got back, married my wife, who's Japanese, so she's from Japan.
Oh, cool.
And then we started taking our kids down. And then they got older, and my daughter applied and got a job as a cast member at Disney World, and she was a friend of Mulan, a friend of a lot of the fur characters, and danced in some of the parades and shows down there. And we started going more and more, and I started reading, books about Walt, books about Disney history, and the more I went to the park, the more I felt like the focus was on like what's the greatest and latest thing, uh, which Disney has always been, that's always been a part of Disney. Great tech and great rides, but I felt like things were being lost, like Walt. Like there was no focus on Walt. But when I started going and putting my focus on Walt, then I noticed that there's plenty of stuff that are tributes to Walt in the park, and then I started my Instagram account, Keeping Walt and Disney, and I chose that name because in social media you see tons of accounts, right, that are all about what's going on in the parks today, and then there's a few historical accounts, but not a lot just focused or centered on Walt Disney, the man, and his history and what he did to create the entertainment enterprise that Disney is today. So that's kind of what I chose to focus on, and not just what's in the parks, but all aspects of Walt Disney, like especially his films, because I did what you're doing now. I wanted to, once I got a real strong interest in Walt Disney, I wanted to watch everything that Walt ever put out. And so I started at the beginning with like Victory Through Air Power, Reluctant Dragon, Song of the South, Treasure Island. And as you watch these films, the actors in them, they kind of, you let them into your home and you see them in different films, and it's almost like they become part of your family. It's kind of, when you're watching like The Parent Trap, and then Summer Magic, or That Darn Cat, and Mary Poppins, Three Lives of Thomasina, you see these same actors over and over again, and it's just kind of like, oh, I know that person. I know Dean Jones was in The Love Bug, and now he's with Suzanne Plachette, and they're chasing dachshunds all over. And they're just, it's hard to explain like my love for these films because they're so comforting, and just love these guys, love the actors, love the directors, love the plot lines, and the
Well, and that's what, obviously, I mean, it's
yeah.
easy. That's what, if you don't know Brian's channel, it's called Keeping Walt and Disney, and it's, you know, he's got an Instagram account where where videos pop up, but you could go on that YouTube channel and just relive your childhood. I mean, it's all the stuff we watched as kids, with the intros and Walt introducing it. I mean, it's just incredible what's on there. And that, which, again, get out of my head, because that's exactly the way you're describing it is how I feel, right? Is I go back and yet I have a pretty big Dean Jones fetish, almost unhealthy, because he's just
Blackbeard's
so comforting.
Ghost.
Right.
Good.
And so Blackbeard's Ghost, you know, the Horse in the Gray flannel suit. What I do is, and I like to fall asleep with the TV on, you know, and so these are the movies. I mean, I've probably watched or at least the beginning of The Reluctant Dragon 150 times. You know, it's probably twice a month, 3 times a month, that it's just in this rotation of films that I love so much. And so that's what kind of got me in the last, I don't know, 2 weeks or so to start. Now, these are ones that I've curated my own copies of, and I've put them on, and they're online, or not online, but I have a server. And so I'm running through the ones I have in alphabetical order. So I don't have them all because Brian gave me, I think, at least 2 more to look up. But I mean, this is what I want to see, right? I mean, I want to see Uncle Walt tell me about everything, and because this is what I had in my living room as a kid.
It would be so much easier.
Me about that, because I saw the Walt Disney stuff because I wasn't around back then. But my dad would tell me how they would watch it on Saturday and Sundays, and Walt would be in their living room, and you know, my dad's always like Western, so Texas John Slaughter's always been something I've always got. That's my go-to. Like if I'm cleaning or something, I'll just throw it on and start watching all the episodes on Brian's channel and what else I can find. And then I started watching a old war movie the other day, and I'm like, hey, that's Tom Tryon in that movie. So it's like,
my gosh,
it's cool to see people in other movies, but to hear it from my dad about, you know, they would stop what they're doing at whatever time it was that Walt was going to be on TV, and they would watch that with him. And then I've shown him some stuff and tags my dad some stuff that I've posted and other people posted. And he's like, yeah, I remember that as a kid. And so it's cool to get to see him light up talking about his childhood.
Well, and that's something
that's what it's all about right there.
Right.
That's why I put the stuff out there. So parents and grandparents see this stuff, and then, hey, kids, check this out. I used to watch this when I was a kid. And you mentioned Texas John Slaughter. Texas John Slaughter made them do what they oughter, because if they didn't, they died.
Yep.
So that was one of the first. I came across somebody who had put all those episodes on DVD.
Oh, wow.
And that one and the Saga of Andy Burnett. So I bought 2 sets from this guy on the internet. And, you know, I really wanted to watch these, but I was really busy. I was working full time. I teach school at night. And so I'm like, it would be great if I had these episodes on YouTube, and then I could just watch them whenever I had some downtime at work or at school. So I put on I think there's 6 episodes of the Saga of Andy Burnett and 17 or 18 episodes for Texas John Slaughter.
Mm-hmm.
And I put those on my YouTube channel, which was just my channel at the time. It had no name. It was just my name. And oh my gosh, they took off like wildfire. Like within a week, all 6 episodes of Andy Burnett had like 50,000 views on them.
Wow.
And a couple people reached out to me. Now there's a collector community for all these anthology episodes, like really just crazy like they're so passionate, right? And a couple of them reached out to me and said, "Hey, I've been looking for those episodes. I have a ton of these other episodes that, and they would want to trade things back and forth with me." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll send you what I got. You send me what you have." And this one gentleman who is pretty elderly, we've been chatting for the last few years, and he said, "Hey, I've got every Disneyland anthology episodes except for a handful that are like lost. Send me a 4 terabyte drive, like hard drive." I bought one on Amazon, had it mailed to him. He filled it all full of these episodes, sent it back to me. And then at that point, I'm like, okay, I'm going to put these up on YouTube, but I'm going to do it the right way. I'm going to make it organized, because a lot of these episodes that I put on my channel, they're out there on the internet, but they're just like, you see them, they're onesie, twosie shows. And then you go to that person's channel and see what else they have. And it's not very organized. Like there's so many people out there that when they bought Disney Plus, they thought that the anthology series would be there. Like they could watch The Wonderful World of Color, which started in 1961, and watch all of those episodes.
Right.
And so what I decided to do was start with season 1, and the Alice in Wonderland show that you had was season 1, episode 2, I believe, right after the Disneyland story.
Mm-hmm.
I started with season 1, episode 1, and I have a personal copy of that. So I put that up online, and then I just started going 1, 2, 3, all the way through, and posting what I can. Now, YouTube will block a lot of content that it's either a feature film or an animated short that's copyright. And so what I do is, if I can, I'll post the entire episode. But if I can't, I'll edit out what's copyrighted. And doing this now for 3 or 4 years, I kind of have an idea what'll get flagged for copyright. So I edit that out. But I always run the videos through, for copyright content, just to make sure I'm legal, and just I post what I can. And I have a disclaimer on my channel that says,
right,
basically, these shows are, I try to post complete episodes when I can, but if I can't and I have to edit things out, I tell you in my write-up where you can go watch them, either on Disney Plus or other streaming services. So people can go ahead. They can follow the anthology week by week if they want. Every Sunday, if they want, they could put on a show. And
what's the difference in one that grabs you, that's copyrighted, you can't put a whole episode, and one, like I'm looking through these now, and I hadn't thought about that. Like some are just 2 minutes long here and there. So some episodes you can put the whole thing and no one seems to care, but some get flagged, huh?
Yeah. A lot of folks they'll be like, "Why don't you show us the whole thing?" And then I'll take time and comment to them. It's like, "I really wish I could, but Disney flagged it for copyright, but here's where you can see it." And some folks get upset saying, "Oh, I want to watch it for free." Well, I can't post things that you can pay Disney to watch and put it up on YouTube for free. That protects me from going to jail.
Right.
And it respects the content creator, Disney, that puts this stuff out for sale. And, if you want to watch something and it's flagged for copyright and I can't post it, you need to go pay for it. So most of the episodes that get flagged for copyright are feature film rebroadcasts on the television show. So obviously, like when they show, like Alice in Wonderland, the clip that you just put up there, I just have the lead in, maybe like 30 seconds of the film, and then I'll fade out and then fade back in to the end of the episode. And a lot of episodes will have a lead out as well. And Walt comes back on and he says, "Hey, this is what's coming on next week." And a lot of those are lost, but not anymore. I try to put as many as I can on the channel.
Because that's what it seems like. It seems like, I mean, as much as I've never been to the archive or the family museum, but it feels like the entire episodes somebody must have. Because I mean, again, I'd watch it with the old commercials, right? Like I would absolutely sit those commercials and enjoy it, and just really just sit in that time machine all the time, right? Because again, Walt's comforting, right? Just Walt's comforting. And there was I was just talking to my wife about the other day. We were watching something like, Man in Space, or one of those episodes, and the cadence and the voice they use to, when Walt or Ward Kimball is narrating, there was a
Sure.
way they talked that I just find very soothing, right? It's very comforting to me. It's, and not quite white noise, but just like a warm Disney hug when the world's beaten and everything's so fast.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Some of the folks that have narrated these episodes, like Rex Allen is one name that comes to
Oh.
mind. Like,
Yeah.
just, I mean, when you hear his voice, it's like putting a warm, cozy blanket over yourself and grabbing a cup of hot chocolate. It's like, because you know that what you're about to see is like vintage Walt. It's going to be good. Right? You don't have to worry about anything that's like offensive right? That's coming up. Rex Allen, and then like the person that did his intros, like, and now your host Walt Disney, like that voice too. I'm blanking on the name of the person that does that, but there's an episode where Walt introduces you to the soundtrack, and it's like oh, I can't remember which one, but it's probably one season 4, I think, when Walt takes you to Disneyland, and it's the one where Tinkerbell puts the pixie dust on him and he floats up and he's like, "Get that stuff off of me."
Off me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he does the Florida project video. Do you know who the narrator is of that? When he talks about Epcot, and is that
okay. I would have to look that one up. I can do that.
That one's always sticks out in my head. I don't know why.
Yeah, I'm so bad. Like, I'm really showing my age here. I just turned 50 last year.
I know,
and my brain doesn't recall names as quick as it used to. But I try to put the narrators in there when I can.
So envious of people who can pull out these dates, and it's so funny. And my friends are like, "Oh, you know everything about Walt." I'm like, "You have no idea how small my knowledge is compared to the people that I envy and love." And I can't. I tried to search real quick while you guys were talking, and I can't quite find him either.
Yeah,
but I can't quite push my kids over the ledge to the live action in the way that I feel about them. They have a lot of Disney love. I mean, my son, this big hulking mass of muscle and testosterone, and he just finished his freshman year. And as soon as he gets home, When are we leaving for Disney? What's the countdown, Dad? How many days? And people who don't understand. And Andrew and I did a whole show on why we keep going back, and there's so many reasons. But I mean, and look, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't to escape real life, right? I mean, Walt was a master of escapism and providing a place for us to do that, to just push a curtain over the real world for a little while, because life's tough, right? I mean, raising kids and working and trying to, and eating beans, right? I mean, those are the choices we make all the time. And so it's nice to have a spot that, at least for a week or so a year, we're gone. We're in a whole nother world. We drive underneath that sign, and I don't leave. I do want to go to Universal. We've talked about that. I'm not against Universal, but how do my kids certainly have a love for Disney, but we've often kind of tossed around, will that nostalgia carry over, right? Will they be as enamored with Walt as I am? And I don't know. I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, it's just finding that one thing about Disney that you love, that, and for a lot of us, it's like nostalgia, things in the past that that something happened to us in the past that really flipped on that switch, that really got us excited about Disney. And in a world today where the focus is on a lot of negative, even inside of Disney, and this is kind of what my focus is with my accounts, is don't focus on the bad. If you look for the bad, that's all you're going to see. That's what you're going to find.
Right.
Focus on the good. And if you do that, you're going to see it. And when something bad comes along, you can sort of dismiss it and put your focus back on the good. Like Pollyanna is my favorite Disney movie. It's probably one of my favorite movies of all time because it's just a great message of optimism, positivity, and looking for the good. Because there's a quote at the end of the film that says, "Hey, Reverend Ford is one of the persons that Pollyanna had a powerful effect on, because he was kind of cynical and looking for the bad, and he had a massive influence from Aunt Polly, who was Pollyanna's aunt. But he said at the end of the movie, we looked for the good in them, and we found it, didn't we? And it's like, oh, here come the tears,
Right.
because and that's like really what I like to share in my account. And I'll see people talk about Walt rolling over in his grave, or Disney is so bad it used to be great. I'm like, and I'll comment to these people and say, hey, yeah, sometimes things aren't as good as they used to be, right? But you got to find the good and focus on that. And I think we find that at the parks, right? We want to relive those memories that we experienced in the past, and we want to share those with our family and friends. And so you go back and you feel those feelings again. I'm just like you. I love going back to the parks either by myself or with just my wife or the kids, and experience those moments in the films that we've watched together as a family. Because when the kids were little, we were going to every Disney movie,
Right.
and you go to the parks and you feel that exact feeling you had in the theater in the parks, like with the attractions you go on. So I'm going on and on here.
No, I love it. Please do. Like I said before the show, we try to find smart people and wind them up and let them go. But no, so there was an old joke, like how many Disney people does it take to change a light bulb? 25, one to do it, and 24 to talk about how nice the old one was. That kind of thing. And look, the only thing that I really hate, and I like to make sure I say it every episode, is that Polynesian lobby. I think they made a big mistake getting rid of those waterfalls. That should have been redone because it was just so breathtaking. But it's almost become a meme for me to even say it. I am sad to get rid of the Rivers of America and Tom Sawyer Island. And I know my kids read Tom Sawyer, so they certainly know who it was. But my kid, my oldest, who loves Disney, said, "Dad, it's hot and boring." And it's you do have to think about what the next generation is going to do. And Ken Bruce, author from When the Birds Sang Words, something he said, and I really don't play this game, what would Walt do kind of game, because I don't know, right? That but he brought it up that he's like, Walt would have gotten rid of everything by now. He's like, I don't know that. He's like, I wrote a book about the Tiki Room. I love it so much. And I don't think it would still be there because it's clunky and it's dated. And he would have moved on to the next thing and wanted something better. Don't follow wolves with wolves or pigs with pigs, depending on which,
Pigs with pigs, right.
And so he might have gotten rid of all of this stuff that we love. He didn't want it to be a museum. He wanted it to change. I think he would look at Shanghai Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean and just be in tears possibly about what the current versions look like compared to that. I've never seen it, but I mean what I've seen of it,
Yeah, that's one of the parks I haven't been to yet. But as for Walt, a lot of folks ask me, what do you think Walt would think of this or that? And I don't know. He was a genius. I'm not a genius. I don't know how geniuses think. But like Ken Bruce said, Walt was progressive. He was always, that quote that the Disney company has, like, that's their foundation, right? We're curious. We keep opening new doors, going down new paths because they want to get the best and brightest. And that's, like Disney right now is building the parks for not our generation, but for our kids and their kids. But one thing that Walt was really good at was being progressive, but also having a feeling of nostalgia. He did say that I love the nostalgia myself. I hope we never lose sight of the past. And so I think Disney still today does a great job of keeping one foot in the future and one foot in the past. And so I think like at Disneyland, I don't think we'll ever lose the rivers of America there.
I hope not.
It's sad that in
No,
Disney
no.
World it's going away, but
Well, I
uh,
mean, I would have never had the vision for Pandora. I would have, when they announced that, I just thought they were insane. Like, why? Because I think about what's there that I love. That's, and for us on the East Coast, at least since 1971, a couple of those rides, and they've had updates, are still there, still pleasing people, still having, hour waits and just thrilling everyone. I do think, and again, send your hate mail to Andrew, I think they did a great job with Country Bears. I think they if you saw it as a kid, which I did, I think it still feels like that. And I think they added some modern touches and some songs that will keep my kids enjoying it. Right. Like I feel like that ride, what they did there, truly, like you're saying, looking to the future and being, mindful of the present, but also honoring that past for something people love. Right.
My daughter hated the original Country Bears. I loved it. She
I did
hated it.
too.
Now she loves it. She's like, I'll go watch it again because it's all stuff that she knows.
yeah, they kind of hate what we love, right?
Right.
Kids do.
Everything.
Well,
It doesn't matter what it is. It's everything.
and
Yeah,
this is a weird
but that's okay.
reference. But I was watching something with the Beastie Boys, an interview in New York, and they were asking, and I can't remember which one it was, but they were asking one of them, like, what do you think of new hip hop music? And he's like, it doesn't matter what I think because I'm old and I'm irrelevant and it's not my genre anymore. I was in the middle of it in the, 80s and 90s, and we did what we did, but we're done. This is somebody else's game. So I don't like to judge the new stuff because whether I like it or not doesn't matter. It's not for me. Right.
Then the
So
sooner that us old guys learn that lesson,
right.
the more happy we'll be because, see, here's another thing that I kind of talk
I just
about.
never thought Mike D would teach me some valuable life lesson,
You talk about the Beastie Boys at work. One of my alarms on my phone is a Beastie Boys song, and I have a 20-year-old
There you go.
employee, and she goes, "What is that?" I went, "Never mind.
Never mind.
Go back to your desk."
Until you hear it at Target, then you're safe.
Right.
Like if you walk into Target and they're playing, Paul's Boutique, then you're in trouble.
Oh, I hear K-pop in Target nowadays.
That's so crazy.
Oh, God.
Which my kids love, and I enjoy it. I lived in Korea for a couple of years, and it's a thing over there. But going back to see, Disney has built this. What they're good at is helping us to how should I put this? They are really good at helping us use our imagination. Right? We've grown up on all these films, which are basically products of imagination of thousands of artists through the years, and that rubs off on Disney fans. Like, even though a lot of these things change in the attractions that we love, or they're gone altogether, we can still use our imagination while in the park to think back to how it used to be. You can close your eyes while you're riding Pirates and still see the scenes that are in your imagination if you want. Don't go as far as like shouting out old lines of the attraction because you don't want to disrupt the enjoyment of others in the park. but and you can take that home. I mean, there's videos everywhere online of how the attractions used to be, and you can enjoy them there. But the thing is, you have to find something that you enjoy, like about Disney, when you're not in the parks, that you can enjoy at home. And like, that's why, like, Tater, you watching these films is exactly what I do when I'm not at the parks. When I'm home, I can put on So Dear to My Heart, or 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, or this movie, The North Avenue Irregulars, right? Which is one of my favorites. And I can feel like I get the same feeling I get when I'm in the parks when I throw these movies on. like my focus is on Walt and what he created, and so I find those things in the parks, and I can also find them at home, and
Well,
so I can surround myself with these
and
things that I love.
that's exactly what I do. I mean, it's yeah, you want to take it home. And I don't always like I watch there's some YouTubers that I like and I enjoy their videos. I like seeing the new stuff because I can't, I'm 10 hours away and unfortunately
Hmm.
have a real life that prohibits me from being in there on opening day and seeing everything for the first time, which is look, there's good and bad to it, right? I'm not
Yeah.
complaining. It's just that yeah, I the cool thing about going solo, and the video I posted on Sunday this week, it was just me. And so this is a family thing for us, right? And I was really worried when I said, okay, I'm going to start a YouTube channel and see what I can do with it. Um, I was worried it would really be going up behind the curtain, and that hasn't happened. Every time I come around that corner and see the castle, it's like the first time. Every single time, I don't get tired of it. And then my wife and I were there together, just the two of us. And again, you're kind of reaching for hands, well, I say that the first time we went on our own was for an anniversary and our kids weren't there. And I literally was reaching down for my kids like, oh my gosh, where? Oh yeah, it's just us. Cause it seems so odd, but you can slow down, right? Like having an annual pass is such a gift if you love those parks, not because you can be there all the time, but because you can move so deliberately through them without having to race for a fast pass or go and get in line or you're, on your phone you can just look. And now, I mean, not only do they change things, but every time I go there, I see something I didn't notice before. And I really, really love those details,
Yeah. Yeah. That's because that's what you're looking for. And when you look for it and find it, it's just such a fulfilling experience. Like I've been an annual pass holder at both Disneyland and Walt Disney World, and I love the parks just as much as everybody else. And I will turn to YouTube videos to see people streaming live in the park because I miss it. Like I don't always just wait when I'm feeling blue, pop in like the Love Bug or Hans Breeker or the Silver Skates or something like that. Look that one up. That's a good one. uh, but I like to stay up on top of what's new and what's happening, what events are happening at the parks
Yeah. I
because I
love
love
all.
them. And then I've been lucky. So my wife's Japanese. I've been very fortunate to visit the Tokyo parks multiple times. And when you go over there, you can do a whole show on Tokyo Disney if you want at
Yeah,
some
now
point. But
now you're just making me angry because that actually the kids have decided that we're
yeah,
gonna. I love Christmas. I mean, I am a big kid.
yeah,
For probably explains a lot of this love of Disney, but I love buying gifts for them. I love hunting for gifts for them. I love Christmas, and we kind of had a family meeting and. To get, I could take my wife to Tokyo, but to take 5 people to Tokyo, and feed them and house them and and if we go, I'm not just going to go to Disney. I'm dying to see Kyoto. I'm dying to go up north. I mean, there's so much of
hmm,
Japan I want to see. So it's going to be a big trip. And they all voted unanimously. Let's cut down on Christmas, and we'll save up for 3 years and go as a family. And it'll be, an amazing trip.
yeah.
Um, but
Thanks for putting this one on.
yeah, isn't this cool? But I can't
Yeah,
wait.
this one I think it's edited, right?
Yeah, it's only 3 minutes.
I had
So,
to edit. Yeah, this one is not on Disney Plus, but there was a DVD release of it, and you can also stream it on Amazon Prime or YouTube. But it's such a
okay.
great story, and it's a good example of how Walt loved the cultures of other countries. Some of my favorite Disney episodes are those that have Walt going to other countries and giving us a glimpse into their lives and their culture. He loved all people, and he loves sharing his product and inviting with other people of other nations. So all these international parks, and even the one that's announced in Abu Dhabi, is exactly what Walt would do. He
Right.
wants as many people to be able to have these experiences and share them. Um, yeah, like Karen said, he was very inclusive before it was a thing. And I'll go out on a limb and say inclusivity is not just kind of how we think of it in the social media setting today, right?
Right.
Because in, he's being very inclusive with Abu Dhabi in that what was it, a third of the world population will now be a 4-hour flight from a Disney park.
I just
Yeah,
heard that we were
That
so,
is
that's awesome.
ultra inclusive, right?
and
Mhm.
And
that's
so
I was arguing a little bit in a fun way,
yeah.
just friendly discourse, talking about that, and they thought it was really kind of silly to put one there because who's going to go, and we think selfishly, right? Because we have some level of or we think we do ownership of what goes on with Disney because we love it so much, and
Mhm.
I think that's natural and fine, but.
Sure.
I was telling him that. I was saying, look, I just heard that island had 40 million visitors last year. There's already a SeaWorld there. There's already stuff there. It makes perfect sense. And look, it could
Oh yeah, yeah.
change
Right.
a million times between now and when it happens. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I think Disney's always been that way. And that's again another way to escape. People are nicer at Disney. People, it's the one place that I always reach down and pick up trash, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how do you create that? I mean, it's
Yeah.
unbelievable that can be done.
I'm really excited for these people to have this experience. And I just got back from Marceline for a D23
Yeah, tell us about
event.
that.
I will, but real quick, just to tie a knot on this conversation. I talked to Michael Vargo, who's the president of D23, who was in Abu Dhabi when that announcement came down. And I asked him because I'm very sensitive to like all groups and all people who are justifiably worried about traveling to that part of the world because maybe their lifestyle may not be accepted, so they're fearful. So I asked him about that, and he said what Lou said basically was Disney is progressive. They can be a catalyst for change, and it's going to take 7 to 10 years to build this thing. And if you love the Disney company, have faith in the Disney company and how they've been able to change minds of people and attitudes towards others and how to create a whole inclusive thing, then I think we'll see that. And I think it's going to be great. I think it's just going to be good. That's all I'll say about that.
Well, I will tell you, and this, I am making this up. This may absolutely not be true. And I would like to think that I had a little bit, and my wife had a lot. My kids are great because of her, but I do feel like my kids stayed kids longer, and were better citizens for going to Disney. And I know you could argue that either way. I can't prove that. I don't want to necessarily, but I felt like my kids wanted stuffed animals just a little bit longer, or snuggled just a little bit older than maybe they should have, but I wasn't going to stop it because I knew it was going away, and I attribute that to our family time of 5 of us cramming into a hotel room. So you kind of had to be snuggly, right? And it was really, really good, undivided family time that really, we made decisions as a family. We picked rides as a family. We, got up and planned our restaurants as a family. We really were, and still are, a very strong unit. My kids actually, I mean, look, they want to go out with their friends and they want to go do stuff. Don't get me wrong. We're not this weird codependent, like stay at home preppers or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that I feel like they're better because of our Disney experiences, at least in some small part. And if you can,
I would say the same thing is happening with my family, and they have a greater appreciation for things that you can learn while at Disney. You've got attractions like the American Adventure or the Hall of Presidents and things like that.
right.
And it's a great setting to learn those kind of things, and they stay with you because the messages and the music you hear during those attractions are just like combine any kind of great message with a stirring soundtrack, and that's going to like enter into your heart. That's what Walt was really good at.
It's so true. It's just, I mean, and they still craft movies that way. I mean, they still do such a great job. Caleb says he's still has stuffed animals. Me too, Caleb. And I'm 54. So I still have stuffed animals.
I got a Mickey and a Shaggy dog and a Jiminy Cricket. I'm looking at it right now. And a Dumbo over there. Yeah. I'm 51, Caleb. we're all kids at heart, right? That's what Walt wanted. But
That's
Caleb.
exactly true.
yeah,
See?
Marceline was great. It was anytime you have the opportunity to go to walk where Walt walked is kind of an out of body experience. It not for just Walt fans, but for any Disney fan. And it's funny because Walt only lived in Marceline from the age 5 to 10 or 5 to 9, but roughly 5 year period. But he's quoted as saying they were the most formative years of his life. Like that's where he began to fall in love with trains, and he learned how to draw. He had an aunt that would send him pencils and paper, drawing pencils, so that he could draw without his father knowing, because Elias, his father, was a very stern, strict man, and he didn't believe anybody could make a career out of art. And he wanted Walt to grow up on the farm and learn the family business and work hard just like he did. He
Hey,
was a good father.
Just so you know, I can hear my son, who is 20, is playing with a lightsaber right now. I can hear it in the other room. I can hear it starting and him whacking things with it. And this is why I love Disney so much, because now Disney and Star Wars, same thing. Sorry,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Oh,
I just
man,
thought that
I
was
love
really
Star
funny.
Wars too. I just watched Rogue One today because I finished Andor. So,
Oh, and we just started
Right.
Andor.
Yeah. I gotta finish the
gosh,
last
it's so
episode.
good. Yeah.
So I'm sorry. So what was the event like? I mean, what did they do?
So well, D23 put the event on, and so basically they bussed us to Mars. We stayed in a little town west of Marceline, about 30 minutes away. We stopped and saw General Pershing's hometown first, and then and there's some other things that we saw. I think they, besides Walt Disney, they wanted to like put it into our minds that there were a lot of geniuses that were living in that area at the time, so which worked because you got Mark Twain or Samuel Clemens, General
Right.
Pershing, and Chillicothe, Missouri, the home of the first sliced bread. I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
So,
I didn't either.
that was a big topic of discussion on the Friday night. But, so Saturday they bussed us to Marceline, and they just had, it was basically, you could walk around town, and they had people stationed at various points, and the whole town was open. So just a couple highlights for me. Walt Disney Elementary School was built in 1959. Walt did not go there, obviously. He went to Park School, which was across town. But when they opened up that elementary school, they invited Walt to come, and I don't know if he dedicated the school, but he donated several items like playground equipment, a flagpole that was used for the 1960 Olympics. He put at that school. It's still there today.
That's so cool.
And he hired an artist, Bob Moore, to paint Disney characters all around the school, like in the gym or the cafeteria. Around the perimeter of that building and the inside are a bunch of Disney characters, and like along this ribbon, which is just a nice little touch. And usually if you go to Marceline, I mean, it's a public school. It's a real working school. You can't just go in, you know how schools are these days. You'd have to get a visitor's pass and have a reason to be there. But when I had visited Marceline with my family in 2017, we could not go in. And so this time they had the doors open. They had a cast member from Walt Disney World. His name was Christopher. He was an ambassador in 2005. And he gave us the whole spiel, the whole story of the school, and let us walk around in various hallways and into the gym. And it's just so cool being in a place where Walt Disney had such a tremendous influence, because he went back to Marceline several times. In fact, in 1956, I believe, The Great Locomotive Chase was a film all about trains,
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and he opened up the theater, the Uptown Theater, downtown Marceline. For 24 hours, he ran the film consecutively, like 11 or 12 times, and
That's so cool.
didn't charge admission to any of the residents there. He dedicated a swimming pool. He visited the farm where he lived on, and there's just lots of things. And so the other highlight was in the evening. Brett Iwan, the voice of Mickey Mouse, was
Oh
there,
yeah.
and he spoke to us, and had Marcy Smothers, who wrote this book, Eat Like Walt. She's a Disney historian, lover of Walt, and had Kay Mullins, who was the director of the Walt Disney Hometown Museum, which is in that town. And they were talking about memories of Walt and things he experienced in Marceline. And so one thing they did that was really special was, okay, I'll try to get through this here without breaking down, but Walt's mother, Flora, was she was really good at churning butter. Like, she could churn butter and make it really sweet, and it was of so high quality that they were able to sell it door to door as a luxury item for people of that town. Now, Elias was not a big fan of luxury, very frugal. And he thought that the butter they sold was, that's not something, this is something that makes us money. We're going to sell it. We're not going to use it ourselves. But Flora was so upset by this. She's like, what? This is my butter. I want my kids to enjoy this. And so one night at the dinner table, without Elias knowing, she buttered all the kids' bread, but set it face down on their plates so Elias wouldn't think they were eating bread with butter on it. So what they did was they passed around this little bag, and I think I have. Oh yeah, here it is. This little bag, and it's got Flora's face on it. And inside this bag, they put a little sourdough piece of bread and butter, and we opened it up, and then they played this clip of Walt telling the story about how his mom buttered the bread face down. And then just to be in that setting on Walt's farm as a kid, and to hear Walt talking about this, like, just to hear his voice on that farm, was just like, people were just bursting into tears. It was such a great moment. So what we did was we buttered the bread, turned it upside down, put it on a plate, and we all held it up as a toast to Flora and to Walt. It's just a little thing, but I don't know. As Disney fans, it's the little things, right, that impress us the most. They're impressed. Our minds are impressed by these things. And
well, it's even like the last time I was at the Contemporary, I just put a finger on the tiles on that on the center column, Mary Blair's tiles. And I know kids probably wipe their hands on it all day and throw things and spill stuff, but to touch something she touched, right? Or the one time we did go to Disneyland, and I just wanted to stand at that railroad, that famous picture of Walt, with looking down at the rail, to stand. It gives you, it's an electricity, right? There's something, not to sound like too much of a hippie, but I got a little bit of that in me. There's some kind of aura or some kind of energy that goes on. And I like all history like that. I'm repeating myself, but we have in Newport News, in between here and Richmond, we have the Maritime Museum, and we had the Monitor of the Merrimack, and the turret from one of those ships is right there. I can go right to it. I can touch, they won't let you touch it, but it's right there. And it's so amazing to stand.
We have the Hunleys. It's the same thing. We can go look at the Hunley, and they had a replica, and you can sit in the replica, how these guys turned it. But like for me, when they put the statue of Walt at Epcot, I went and got my picture taken. And there was nobody else there but me and Lee. Goes, you can take your time. I sat there, and I just kind of said out loud, well, Walt, what you think?
Right.
Yeah.
Because you just sit there looking out over everything. It's just like, what do you think? Well, what do you feel about it?
When I first saw that statue and I sat next to him, and you know what he's looking at? He's looking directly at the America Pavilion.
Right.
Yeah.
And Walt was so patriotic, right? He even said that he had a red, white, and blue stripe painted down his back. And he loved America, and he loved sharing things he loved sharing the history of this country, and he put that in his parks. And Johnny Tremaine is a great movie.
That's another good movie.
And I have that Walt lead in and lead out on my YouTube channel, and just to watch Walt and hear him talk about the United States of America and the history of this country and the Revolutionary War and how proud he was to be an American. I mean, in fact, he shut his whole operation down
Right.
to host the Army. I mean,
yeah.
it was somewhat forced upon him, but he agreed to it, and him and his artist made several films for the Army and the Navy, and
certainly never heard him complaining about it, right?
No, he even drove an ambulance for the Red Cross after World War I. He wanted to be in the military so bad, but he couldn't. But he did what he could.
Yeah.
And he loved everybody. He loved people, and that was a driving force behind all the things that he's created, were things that he wanted the American public and now the whole world to enjoy as a family, right? That was the premise for what he built Disneyland, a place where parents and children can have fun together. And just talking with both of you guys, how we all share this with our kids and kind of creates a bond. That's really what it's all about. Yeah.
The first time I took my dad to see Hall of Presidents, we walked out and he looked at me and goes, "That's Walt Disney." And I thought my dad's a big burly guy. I swear I saw a tear in his eye. I was like, he goes, "That's Walt Disney. That's the Walt Disney I grew up with." Just that whole scene, the Hall of Presidents.
My mom tells this story that when we went to Hall of Presidents, and when Abraham Lincoln stood up, I stood up and saluted. Like, I mean, and I'm thinking to myself, like, how do you create that? Like, it's just unbelievable. I just 10 more years. I just want to see that Epcot video come to life, right? And see the trucks going underneath and see the people movers taking everybody home. Because when I do have my Disney naysayer friends who want to tell me all the reasons that things are wrong and what they do wrong, and I'm like, just watch this video. Watch one thing for me. Yeah. And if they do, they always come back going, I think that might have worked. I think that would have been, really could have connected our country. But
go tell them to mosey around to the flagpole at 4:30 p.m. every day, right, in the park.
That level of
flag retreat ceremony is, I'm a veteran, and I go and watch that, and it's just, I don't consider myself like, I'm a veteran, but there's the crusty veteran, right? The old gentleman that wears the hat,
right?
And it's for them really, because when you go and in Disneyland, it's a little different between Magic Kingdom and Disneyland. Magic Kingdom, they pick a family or a veteran prior to this, and he gets to be up there and be part of the ceremony. In Disneyland, they just invite anyone that's a veteran to come around, stand around the flagpole.
Huh.
And so the last time I was there, I always make it a point to see this, and just to see like these guys and girls that they hobble up to that fence line around the flagpole, and they do their best to stand at attention and salute the flag during the national anthem. It just, that was so important to Walt, to honor America and patriotism. And every day, wherever you are, just 4:30 p.m. Eastern time or Pacific, they're doing that in Disneyland or Magic Kingdom. And that's, they're still good out there. It's, you just,
right.
If you look for the good, you're going to find it, and just hold on to that good that you love, and you'll always be a happy Disney fan. I think.
Well, yeah. Karen says that listening to you talk is soothing. So I think that's a good thing. Well, you are obviously welcome to come back, because this is all we do, right? This is the whole point, is that each week we sit around here and talk about Walt Disney and Disney things, and it's fun. It's fun. I like the chat. I like people coming, and I like being able to share something I love with people who love it, which is awesome. So, Brian,
I appreciate you.
No, thank you. I can't believe you're here. It really is kind of a pinch me moment for me. So, tell us again where to find you. It's not hard, but.
Yeah. Well, on Instagram, Keeping Walt and Disney. And I kind of just been sharing a lot of little reels of films and things that I find, things that I come across on my as I post videos. Like, oh wow, that's cool. I'll take a little 1-minute clip of this and post it on there. I probably overshare my love of Pollyanna and Haley Mills on there.
Nope.
Hey, who else is gonna do it?
Right.
Who's gonna share a 1-minute clip of Gus, right?
Yeah,
the donkey that kicks field goals. Or
you just keep it coming. You could not fill up my feed if you tried. I would love it.
Yeah. And
Andrew?
then, of course, I got the YouTube channel, Keeping Walt and Disney. Please share that with your friends and family. I'd like to get the sub count up more, but what I put out there is for you. I do it as much for me as I do for everybody else within copyright, of course, but I love doing that. So,
how many, so it says here 1,000 videos. Is that about accurate?
Yeah. So right now, I've been kind of taking a break. I've just been so busy with school. I teach in the end of the semester. The last 3 weeks, I haven't posted a whole lot, but I have all 32 seasons of the Disneyland anthology. So from 1954 all the way up to 1983 represented.
Wow.
Or 86 actually. Yeah, 86. But I'm still working on seasons 28 and 29, filling in the gaps there. And then I've started posting a lot of educational films and then other things from animated films that like are bonus content on DVDs that Disney Plus doesn't put out there.
Yeah,
they put the films out there, but they don't have a lot of extras. Yeah.
It just seems like they could have a whole section that would just be nothing but this, the episode from start to finish.
Sure.
Yeah, that Mary Blair.
Yeah, I think there's over 1,000 videos on there.
That's wild.
But everything's organized. If you go to my homepage, I have playlists for everything. So a playlist for every season, a playlist for all the mini series that were part of the anthology, like Zorro or Andy Burnett. A lot of the Mickey Mouse Club serials are on there. So everything's organized. Yeah, I kind of pride myself on keeping things organized so people can find it easier and watch entire episodes of a series.
Which is awesome. And I kind of like, I don't know, sometimes I'll just put it on and let it roll because I just want to see something new. And then again, there's so many things that I have not seen. Like your most popular video, A Boy Called Nothing. I've never seen that.
Yeah, that one just kind of took off. I think it was 1967 with little Ron Howard is the star in that film.
Yeah, and I've never seen it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's got a great little intro number. There he is. Yeah. Yeah, A Boy Called Nothing. It's a good show. It was a 2-parter, I believe.
And see, why don't they?
And the copy that I had is both parts put together in one episode.
Yeah, and that's pretty good quality. I mean, that's good enough quality to watch.
Yeah, a lot of this stuff either came recorded directly from the Disney Channel or a VHS tape. Sometimes a DVD if I can get away with it. Yeah.
All right. Well, cool. Well, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you coming. Yes, and Karen says you need to come back. Absolutely. Frankly, you can come on anytime you want. We're here each week.
If you ever need anybody, just
all right, cool. Don't be careful what you wish for.
Well, we could talk about Tokyo. I could talk more about Marceline or my channel or whatever. If there's a video on there that you want to talk about or a film that's coming up that you want to know a little bit more about,
we might have to go to twice a week.
I'm always happy to talk about that stuff.
Andrew, got any new videos up?
Yep, finishing up tonight. I did a transportation video, ties into my theme. So it's just all the different ways to get to the Magic Kingdom, and that'll be up probably in the morning.
So Andrew's got
that's a lot of fun.
His video, his YouTube channel is Mouse Gears because he does cars and Disney, which Mouse Gears is
Okay.
just the greatest name of all
I'm
time.
trying to do all the transportation stuff now to tie it in, so it would be cool.
And I've got to make some decisions because I've had people order merch and I cannot use the Disney word. So I may have to go to BMD and start promoting that as something.
Oh man, yeah, that's tough.
But I really like my logo, and my name, of course, is taken from the Muppets when he says a salute to all nations, but mostly America. So mine's a salute to all travel, but mostly Disney. I do throw in a couple other things here or there. But yeah, check us out. If this is your first time here, welcome. We do this live each week, almost always on Tuesday, 60-75% of the time. We do have real jobs. We have to keep going. So sometimes, like next week, Monday or Thursday, I think, but we'll let you know. And if you follow us on the social, if you just Google But Mostly Disney, it's us on Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube. And you can find out. I try to post a day ahead of the show, but sometimes day of, but we'll let you know where we are. So, and if there's anything we can do for you, let us know. Something you want to see, a show topic you have, let us know, because we love doing this stuff. So again, Brian, thanks so much for coming, man. I appreciate it so much.
Yeah, enjoyed it. Nice to meet you guys.
Have a great night, everybody.
See you.
All right, good night.